Hey, Lean Body Academy members, Dr. George Kosmides coming at you this Monday morning for your coaching call. Hope you guys are having a great day or night. We've got people all over the globe now in the academy. You can see that map that Kelly put up in the Facebook group. Please participate in that map. Just use your first name, shows a location. It's pretty neat how it's starting to all fill up pretty much everywhere, especially our Middle East members over there. We want to get them on board as well. Hey, Mary. I want to again welcome you guys, you new members. If you're watching this as a replay, that's awesome. These are designed to really focus your week and now your new year into getting what you want, not only in your weight and your health, but also in your other elements in your life. This work transcends all barriers because it's fundamental. You improve in these areas, you'll improve exponentially in other areas as well. So I want to welcome all the members that are joining in. So for those of you that are following me on Periscope, I kind of talked about working your plan and things like that. But obviously, you guys get the carte blanche of that in a condensed version. There's also going to be a 2-page. I hate to call them worksheets. I want to call these planning sheets. Really simple. The last one is just I start here. I have 7 spots. You may need 5, you may need 3, and then you end at. So you reverse engineer it. Was it Harvard? Yeah, I think it was Harvard that did the study that they found that people who reverse engineer their goals do better and get the aha moments quicker, or like they get the process quicker. That just means you work backwards. Your goal is, let's say, your Lean Body Academy, your goal is to get your body fat under 25%. And let's say right now you're 35%. Now, it took me 12 weeks to drop 5% body fat, but I was really clean. My focus was, that was my goal, to drop 3 to 5%. 5% was pretty lucky. But when you start setting these goals, you have to understand, and I'll walk you through the planning portion. You have to be realistic. And part of the problem that I see is people with very good intentions, very good motivation, they set goals so high that they think it's going to super motivate them, but it does absolutely the opposite. It kind of derails them because they're not close a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks into it. Now they become what? They become discouraged, and their power goes away. So we don't want to really play that game. So let me walk you through the 5 ways to work your plan, the neurodynamics of learning. Again, the main emphasis of this paper is a 14-page paper by Harvard. It's actually in my Periscope profile. If you click on, you'll see how to get to Lean Body Academy for 2 weeks for $1. And then below that, you'll see science. And right next to that is the link to the Harvard website page where I gleaned this information from. Pretty amazing stuff. I always thought that was true, but I didn't know that they really did hard research on that. Yeah, I see Lucretia's awesome. Okay, number 1. As you're setting up your life for 2017, and again, you've got to plan some things out. I've got some really big plans this year for myself and my family, for you guys, and you have to, if you think about everything all at once, you'll go crazy, or at least I'll go crazy. So be precise. Like I said, you can get a whole packet of these pads for like $3. They're not the fanciest, but they work for me because they're handy, and I can write down things. What I call them is innate flashes. We get flashed with innate thought processes, and if we don't take action on those thought processes, it's kind of like smoke. It will dissipate away. At least that makes sense for me. Chopra talks about that. I think he calls them mental image events. He uses much more profound verbiage than me, but they're just flashes. You get some grandiose idea, and then you can write it down and work it out. So be precise, set precise goals, maybe putting dates and times, but also understand there's a flexibility involved in that. Okay. These not only will spur your motivation setting goals, but again, goals aren't enough. You have to have some sort of a plan connected to those goals, and I'm going to show you how to put that together. Number 2, be sure that you set priorities. I have about 5 big things I want to achieve this year. And they're going to be in levels of priority. Now, as I accomplish some goals, that priority chain is going to shift, and that's okay. But don't be so rigid where things don't change as your circumstance changes, whether it's your weight, applying the principles in the LBA. I think Tom was just on a little bit ago talking about he pretty much, went off track, went to Palookaville for a few weeks, but now he's back. The thing is that you know where to go back to. You know your principles are solid because your body begins to talk to you about how it feels. You new members will get that, excuse me, will get that experience. You do good for a few weeks, you do good for a few weeks, you start making some gains. Then for whatever reason, and there's hard neurological reasons for this, you go back to your old ways. Within 3 or 4 or 5 days, your body starts feeling like back in its old habits again. And that sometimes that's needed to reflect back, say, I don't want to go there again. So don't be angry at yourself for that. That's just a process, a learning curve, okay? So number 1, be precise. Number 2, set priorities. You can do that on a simple sheet of paper. That's fine. Actually, I'm going to include one in your members area along with this coaching call. This is probably, number 3 is probably really important. Write down your goals. I want to have a house here. I want to have a job like this. Maybe not a job at that place, but a job like this. Or I want to do this. I want to become a internet knitting sensation, or whatever it is. And then your goal is out here, and then you work the plan backwards how to get there. I need some internet coaching. I need a good camera set up. So on and so forth. You see how this is working? So when you write down your goals, it cements them. Okay, these are my specific goals. And again, keep big goals with incremental steps. So it's not like a huge hill that you have to climb. It's steps. You reach the goal. Some of you just joining the academy was a goal. Going through your first week's lessons was a goal. Understanding what your lean body mass is and your protein intake is. These are all goals, and those are excellent goals to have because it's all new to you. I can guarantee you, if you're in the academy for the first time, a lot of the principles that I present, you've never heard of them before. But these are physiological principles that are just basic to how our bodies function. How can we best take advantage of that with the least amount of pain? That's the whole key here in the academy, and that's why having something like this to kind of work your plan will manifest. Because quite frankly, you can have the Lean Body Academy or the best plan, but if your work environment or your home environment is in disarray, who's going to think about that? So you can apply these to everything. Social life, priorities. Okay. Number 4. Set performance goals. This is important, and it took me a while to really understand the power of this phrase. Set performance goals, not outcome goals. In other words, I want to perform in this fashion. Yeah, my outcome is out here, but here's how I'm going to perform to get there. For example, if you want to improve your 40-yard dash speed, you're going to do certain techniques that are known to improve your 40-yard dash speeds and your agility, for example. And then when you go and run that 40-yard dash and you meet your goal, yes, you met your goal, but you did fundamental steps along the way in order to realize that goal. So the goal wasn't the main focus. The goal was a flag, and then you did steps along the way. So retool that thinking. Again, this is from that link in Harvard. It's on my Periscope page under Science. Pretty interesting article. The main thing you want to see in there, and they only give it a sentence or two, is how important this backward reengineering is to our thought process. Our brain works really well that way. So again, don't focus on the outcome. Focus on how you're going to perform inside that outcome. And number 5, I keep saying this to every goal that I have here, or every point, is they're also important. You have to be realistic. How many of you have gotten into a plan, health plan, weight reduction plan, whatever you want to call it, and set these lofty goals? And you guys who follow me on Periscope see it all the time. how do I lose, 20 pounds in 10 days? How do I, and those of you that understand the principles of water to fat ratio and the whole business of water is only about 3% fat is only about 3% water. You know how off track that statement is. Okay, so be realistic. If you're 250, 300 pounds, take the first 2 weeks and begin to put the principles in play. Your body has been that way for a long time. Metabolically, it's gotten used to that system or how you're supporting it. And it's done certain things physiologically to cope. And it's not going to change like that because it has to know that you're what? You're going to be consistent. Every day that you're consistent, your body says, oh, this person is serious. And they begin to move in the direction that you want your body to move to. Remember, we talked about 21 days to change the neuroengram and 3 months to change it physiologically, where it becomes a physiological habit pattern that when you go away from that pattern, you become kind of disheveled physiologically. You guys know the feeling. You eat really good, then you have a junky meal, the next day you feel kind of crappy. Well, understand that you always felt that way when you didn't change your habits, but now your body is saying, hey, this is an old experience that I don't care for anymore. And when people call them regressions, I call them just education. When you go back and you have that feeling, your body re-educates you again. Say, oh, I don't want to feel like that anymore. Okay, so let me read you this summary, then I'll go through the back page worksheet. If you base your goals on personal performance, then you have complete control over them. And you can draw satisfaction from doing them. You're in charge, not your circumstances or your elements. Tom was on earlier, said he went to Texas and he basically didn't plan his event properly. He thought, understandably so, but you're going to be wrong more times than you're right, that the place will satisfy his needs. If I'm going to be somewhere for more than a week, I pre-send at least a 1-pound can of whey and some chlorophyll. I pre-send that, especially if I'm going to Hawaii, or especially if I'm going anywhere longer than a week. I'll pre-send something. Then I'll be waiting for it in my hotel or whatever. I know it seems strange, but you don't have to go hunting around when you get there. So just kind of keep that in your mind's eye. Okay, so on this back page, there's a line for your goals, whatever they are. A better relationship with your spouse, better communication at work. These goals can transcend anything: neuroemotional, physiological, lifestyle habits. And then you start at the beginning points. I will begin this goal here. So it's not the end. People want to rush to the end. My goal is to drop 50 pounds. Okay, great. And everyone gets really happy. Okay, what's the first step? First step to me would be self-realization. A lot of people that are heavy or have health problems, and a lot of times they ignore it. They focus on the hair, the superficial things, and subconsciously they don't want to take a look at that in some cases. Just understand this is going on with all of us. We never want to see our weaknesses or our blind spots. That's normal. That's how the brain is wired, to basically self-preservation, right? No one wants to know, hey, I'm not smart enough, I'm not fast enough, whatever that is. So begin there and begin truthfully and realistically. And I like to say, for my members who are the most successful, I think they've gone through a phase of realization. They've realized certain fundamental things that they were doing or were not doing. Now they're realizing, that really wasn't helping me. That wasn't moving me in the direction that I really wanted to go. So, get real. What's that? Is that the hip term now? Get real. That's important. You may not like it, but so what? You have to. If you're in the Lean Body Academy, we've got to. You're here. I'm here to help you face some of these demons. I even get into the emotional ones in your week 1. There's a simple emotional lesson there. They're all there for a reason. Week 4 is the liver flush. It's all there, structured like that for a reason, because it's what? It's planned out. You see? So What do my members want? At the end of their program, or at the end of, say, a 3-month phase, which is the healing process, this is where I want them to be. I want their lab works to improve. I want their body fat to drop. I want them to have a better control over self. Now, week 1 is how we begin to start the process. Do you see? So that's re-engineering. That's the whole Harvard principle of working backwards. They had 14 pages. I think there was like 15 or 16 peer-reviewed articles that support that. Pretty impressive. I always thought that was the case. So it's just like an architect or engineer. They start the house at the base and work backwards. That's what I want you folks to think about doing. So this PDF sheet will be in your members area. You can print it out and you can do it just for fun. Just do it. It's really simple. And for those of you that are new to the Academy, again, please, it says start here. I made new walkthrough videos. Start there. Watch the videos. They will educate you on how to navigate in the Facebook group. The other video will help you navigate through your Lean Body Academy members area. I just added I'm adding podcasts now. So you're going to have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 lesson icons with lessons inside of them. So it's really becoming a very robust program, and you don't want to spend time clicking around. Spend the 8 or 10 or 12 minutes, whatever it is, to watch those 2 videos total, and you'll know how to navigate that, how to get questions answered. All that is right in there. So I'm planning out for you guys to have a really good experience inside that platform. Okay, let me go back through some questions here. Got a chance to go through that. Hey guys, I was gone for 10 days and still managed to have my spinach weight. Yeah, Christy, that's fine. I had some cookies as well. There's Dr. V, he's on. Write your goals down, so check it if they aren't truly realistic, measurable time. Yeah, and they may change as you become more kind of functional in your goals. When you start doing the process, things may fluctuate a little bit. Asif says, been off 2 weeks. Weeks lost on a job. Asif, going through a little bit of a tough time there. How is the members? I think it's doing really well. We only have a handful in there now, but it's only been up about a week, so it's pretty neat. For repeating everything over and over for us, yeah, it is amazing, right? Research says first time we're exposed to something, we retain 30%. Second time it's 50%. The third time it's 70%. And at the third time, now a lot of that material becomes embedded in our long-term memory. See, all this stuff has a reason. And believe me, if I could change the science, it'd be lemon meringue pie and espresso. And if we heard something once, we had 100% memory utilization. So, I don't say this stuff happily. That's just, physiologically how we work. Yeah, Doc doesn't like SMART goals. I understand what you're saying, but my process is more focused on the performance rather than the outcome. And I think that's the distinct difference. Too many people focus on the goal aspect, and they seem to dilute the plan. And that's the real key. The goal is kind of like that shiny object. And people say, oh, I want this. Okay, I get that. Let's sit down and see how we're going to get there. Much like a financial planner. You want this retirement? Okay, here's how you're going to get there. So this is kind of no different. Think of your body as a long-term annuity that you're pretty much stuck with. You can't really change brokers because the broker is yourself. But I appreciate what the doc's saying. Yeah, you have to have things that you can measure, and you need short-term ones and you need long-term ones. Otherwise, last thing you want someone to do is to get discouraged, and then self-loathing behavior kicks back in. They revert back to their old negative habits, and the habit patterns get reinforced all over again. We don't even want to go there. So it's kind of like a SMART goal with a little bit of a LBA twist to it. Lou says, so sorry, Asif. Yeah, sending hugs to Asif. Thank you for doing that. I see a lot of people in here today. Small group, but Mondays are tough because I know people work. But these recorded coaching calls, there's over a year's worth in the academy. There'll be the most recent ones are at the bottom. I think there's 55 or 56 now. The oldest ones are at the top. And I usually go in there and try to clean them up a little bit before I post them. Doc's doing a goal setting workshop. Dr. V, a bariatric surgeon. Every time I see this broadcast, he's cooking or something, so he gets it. I appreciate that. Okay, thanks, Doc, for joining. Luce, Marcy. Okay, let me recap the 8 again. Be precise. No vague goals. Be precise. It's important. According to, I keep referencing Deepak Chopra because he's on Periscope now, and if anyone influenced the way I practice is him. I didn't really understand who he was. I didn't really understand what he was. The first time I heard him lecture in person, I really didn't understand 90% of what he said, but I knew something sounded right to me. Can't explain that. And that's when I got a couple of his books, and that's when I was kind of, hey, this is pretty deep stuff. If you ever hear him, he's on Periscope. If you ever hear him speak, he's just as prolific and dynamic, and to some people way out, but his message is solid. And I try to take that type of superior thinking and apply it in terms of, okay, what's not going to blow people out of the water? And I hope I do his work and other doctors that I kind of mimic, do them justice. So be precise. Number 2, set priorities, and those priorities will change as you make small achievements. You know, maybe your achievement is meeting your water intake. Okay, great. Then maybe that priority will fall down to 3 or 4. Maybe it was 1 or 2. That's one of my biggest struggles is meeting my water intake. Some of you it is as well. That's okay. If life was easy, we would all be bored. So set priorities, write down your goals, set performance goals, not outcome goals. Doc V was right where he said he had some resistance with certain goal principles. I totally agree. That's why outcome is the key. What is the plan that's going to achieve us? And that's going to be on the second page. You're kind of like 1 page, super simple worksheet. Set performance goals, not outcome goals. Number 5 is be realistic with your expectations of yourself. You know, if you've been unhealthy for 10 or 20 years on several medications to control symptoms, and you know things are just kind of spiraling out of control in your 40s, 50s, or 60s, Lean Body Academy or any program is not going to get you fixed in a week or 2. It just, your body has set up certain metabolic conditions that it's dealing with that metabolism that it's been left with. Do you follow me? So that's why people say, oh, I can't eat this and I can't eat that, because the body has gotten used to being without it. It doesn't like it, but it's got no choice. And that that can transcend into, from emotional, social ability. I like to be by myself, and you'll look at that person and maybe they grew up alone. Okay. So me, I mostly grew up alone. So I don't mind being by myself because I can occupy myself, but that's something that was a trained behavior. But if you take someone who's used to being around a lot of people or had a big family, you put them in a different environment, it can cause discomfort. These principles transcend into everything, how our bodies work emotionally, how they work physiologically. And if you guys can just understand the inkling of that, I think it would help you across the board have a better relationship, have a healthier life, not only physically, but emotionally. And again, before I end my call, I want to stress with that. A lot of people out there have some general concepts about eating that are okay. They don't really understand the glycemic load and stuff that I teach in the academy, but they have general ideas. What causes them to act on that consistently is, in my opinion, emotional fortitude, where they're at. So Lean Body Academy members that come on here and they voice their weaknesses, that takes a lot of courage for people to do. And I can almost guarantee you that the person doing that would have never done something like that prior to the LBA or prior to a platform like where they can get on our Facebook group and just do a video. For those of you that see that or see me and say, oh, I could never do that, understand it's not about you. This video is not about me. It's about how can this video help someone that's watching it. How can it help the viewer in some way? because all of you are a bit different. You may have health struggles or you're combating different things in your life, but the principles don't change. How we apply them to our bodies can, but has to be wired up here first. Okay. So again, this sheet will be in your coaching calls, and this is going to be 5 ways to work your plan. And I hope that was helpful. If there's any questions, I will stay on. It took me much longer to. Yeah, Asif was with me when I was just getting started, and he recorded a visit to his primary. He dropped his blood sugar, I think 100 some odd points. I mean, it was phenomenal. That was, I think, the first month I was in the academy. I've definitely been battling emotional issues. Yeah, it's going to be like, in my opinion, it's going to be like peeling an onion. You'll go through the Lean Body Academy, and you'll hit a phase as you begin to apply the principles where it's not necessarily resistance, but things begin to come out, and as you work through them, you begin to clear them. So emotional clearing is much like detoxifying. It's a process. It's not, one and done. It just doesn't work that way. I wish it did. It just doesn't. Yeah. So Asif was doing some things before the LBA, but I think the LBA got him more structured. And that's the whole idea. The brain likes a structured environment, and then you can build that structure out. But as long as you apply the principles of focusing on performance and building backwards, you're much more likely to succeed and not self-loathe. So I want to thank all my members for joining me today on this call. I will get this in the members area as soon as possible, and I want to wish you guys a great 2017. Have goals, have enthusiasm, but work your plan. What is your plan to achieve those goals? And you're going to be much more likely to succeed, whatever it is, if there's certain steps that you put in place. Okay? All right. I'll see you guys inside the academy. Check out, I think I've got one podcast in there. That's a new icon. And definitely check out, for you new members, the exercise programs are in there now. Give me feedback on what you like, what you don't like, what works, what doesn't work for you. I'm in a constant phase of improving. And the goal is that the LBA is the best online program on the planet. Thanks to you guys. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.